So hey guys, I already made my number 11 list for 2018. My honorable mentions for films that didn't make my top 10 best of the year. I've already made my 10 best films of the year list, but now we got to go back to the films that aren't so good, the films that kind of stink, the films that kind of frustrate me. So these are five films, thankfully. I didn't want to make a top 10, but I didn't choose to make a top five list for this one. These are the five films I personally saw in 2018 that really disappointed me. I was really hoping these five films are going to really bring something interesting, really do something good. They didn't. These are five films that disappointed me in one way or another. These are five films that definitely I think films made from here on out should avoid. These are films that involve talented film directors for four of these cases out of five that I think these directors should have known better. So let's go over five films that came out in 2018 that disappointed me the most. I'm sure there's worse that came out in 2018, but these are five films for me in particular I was really rooting for that turned out to be kind of stinkers. So my five films, you guys. At number five, we have First Man. I like Damien Chazelle a lot. I really like what he did with La La Land and Whiplash. He's a very energetic, passionate director. The man, when he makes a film, you know he's very passionate about what he does. He's very passionate about that subject matter. But I gotta say, in First Man, I really was not impressed. The energy that he had in his earlier two films is gone. It didn't feel as passionate. Ryan Gosling normally delivers a great performance in a movie. I just really couldn't connect with him in this one. And it's Louis Armstrong, and it's the guy who walked on the moon. When you take on a story about a man walking on the moon and making history and doing just big stuff like that. And I remember talking to my parents and my grandparents about Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong is who I was thinking of. Watching Neil Armstrong walking on the moon for the first time and really kind of making history. Um, by the time it happens in the movie, it's like, okay, it just kind of happened. Um, yeah, it's not a very investing movie. I feel like I really wasn't given a reason to care. And I think with a film like this, you kind of have to. It's definitely something this historically huge. So I don't know. For me personally, this biopic about Neil Armstrong walking on the moon just didn't quite work for me. It makes it at number five for worst of the year for Damien Chazelle, First Man. At number four, we have another talented director who really should have known better, and he made a better film earlier in the year too. And it's Clint Eastwood's film, The 1517 to Paris. It had a quiet little release back in February in 2018. Clint should have known better. I appreciate the idea of getting the real people involved to play themselves in this film based on a real event. But look, there's so much footage in this film that didn't need to be in there. There's so much footage in this movie that adds nothing to the story. There's so much scenes in here where everything's coordinated and doesn't feel natural and feels kind of awkward. There's so many scenes in here where the things you love about Clint Eastwood are just not here. It's slow, it's not interesting. Yeah, it's just not good. 1517 to Paris is number four on my list. At number three, once again, another talented director that should have known better, that should have chose a better project and didn't. This man has made tons of films I love, and well, this one wasn't one of them. It's the Robert Zemeckis film Welcome to Marwen. I love Robert Zemeckis. He's a great man, a great director. He's gave us Back to the Future and Forrest Gump and Castaway and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I could go on and on and on. And this guy is great, and I don't know what happened here. You think with getting Steve Carell and Leslie Mann and Isa Gonzalez and um, just famous people that are really talented at what they do, you could get something better than Welcome to Marwen. This film, I appreciate what they were going for. The things I was intrigued by it, like recovering after a traumatic experience and kind of given what you're the best at, and you kind of using that to get better and stuff. I was intrigued by that idea. but Welcome to Marwen really doesn't do a very interesting job with that. Most of the stories that plays out with these little Marwen figures are just kind of going on in Steve Carell's head for just no reason. Um, I just wasn't very intrigued by it. I was very disappointed. It definitely is kind of the first big fall for Robert Zemeckis in a long time. He's made a couple of clunkers along the way, but for the most part, he's made some really good ones. I always agree with his idea of, the best films ever made are have a good balance of drama and spectacle, and they're both treated at equal balances. Unfortunately, Welcome to Marwen is not that kind of experience. So I wish him the best in his next project. I just really was not impressed with Welcome to Marwen. At number two, we have the Ava DuVernay film A Wrinkle in Time. She's a very talented lady, a very talented director. I want to see more of her kind come out. Young ladies out there, please direct more movies. We have Patty Jenkins and Ava DuVernay, and we really need more people to step up to the plate and direct more great movies. I'm sure there's many of you that are very talented that could be great directors. And I was really rooting for it. It was her first big studio project, and Wrinkle in Time was not good. I I've been told on many occasions it's a very unadaptable story. You really can't turn it into a film properly. I've never seen earlier installments of this story on film. But based on what I saw in this film, I can see why they mean by it's unadaptable. It's just kind of all over the place. How the Chris Pine thing gets resolved is very bad. Um, there's just so many moments in the movie where it's just like, what am I watching? There's even moments in the film where I feel like I'm not even watching a story. I'm just watching like a series of things playing. I was like, oh, hey, Dad, there you are. We've been looking for you all this time, and there you are. I guess the film's over with. Yeah, there's just so many random things, and I think the moment that really told me I was watching something bad was when one of the celestial women things, I think that Reese Witherspoon was one of them. I think this is the one that did this. She turns into like this giant lettuce creature. She's like, hop on, guys! They ride on her, and it goes nowhere. The scene goes nowhere. They ride a big lettuce monster. So that's when I knew the film stunk. So Ava DuVernay, I wish her the best on her next project. Wrinkle in Time did not work for me. It's number two on my list. At number one on my list, we have In Darkness. I heard about this film a while ago. It finally came out in 2018. I've been rooting for Emily Ratajkowski to really kind of land a big film, land an interesting film, because I loved her performance in Gone Girl. She's obviously a very attractive woman as a model. I wanted her to land some interesting projects. I was hoping this was going to be the film. It had Ed Skrein from Deadpool. It had Natalie Dormer from the Hunger Games films. It had an interesting plot. And it was bad. It was very bad. In fact, it was my number one least favorite film of 2018. It's not interesting. It was boring. It wasn't filmed in a very interesting way. Though I liked Emily Ratajkowski's performance, it just kind of felt a little typical. I felt like any attractive young lady could play the role. I'm really rooting for her. Like I said, I really want her to land some great projects here in the future. I love what she did with We Are Your Friends and Gone Girl. Hopefully, we get more projects along that line. Um, yeah, I was really hoping for something big, and it just kind of disappointed me on every level it could. Ed Skrin's performance was just kind of typical, and it was bad. It really didn't have much of a sense of mystery or suspense, and I really was not very impressed with that. So that was my number one least favorite film of 2018. So those are my five films that I was most disappointed with. You guys, let me know down below some 2018 films that you really did not like, and I'll see you back here throughout 2019 for more movie reviews.